Reine Delacroix never imagined she'd be fired over a croissant. But there she was, watching her boss, ex-boss, point at the door with the same indignation as if she'd stolen company secrets, when all she'd done was eat the damn croissant that had been sitting in the break room for 3 days. Apparently, it was the special French-imported croissant that the CEO's wife had left for him. "You're fired, Miss Delacroix. Clear your desk in 15 minutes. 15 minutes. 5 years working as an administrative assistant, and she had 15 minutes. Which is exactly why, 3 hours later, Reine was sitting in a ridiculously expensive bar in downtown Manhattan, wearing her only decent dress, which had a wine stain she strategically hid with her purse, sipping a martini that cost more than her electric bill, and seriously contemplating how her life had fallen apart. You look like someone who's contemplating either murder or bankruptcy, possibly both. Reine looked up and met the most irritatingly handsome man she'd ever seen in her life. Perfectly tousled dark hair, amber eyes that seemed to see through all her lies, and a suit that probably cost more than her car, if she still had a car, which she didn't, because it had died gloriously last week. "Bankruptcy," she replied. "Because what difference did it make? Murder seems like too much work." He laughed, a deep, genuine laugh that did something strange to her stomach. "Dante Castellari." He introduced himself, extending his hand. Reine shook it, trying to ignore the electric shock she felt. "Reine Delacroix. And before you ask, yes, I'm drinking a $20 martini with my last $20. Judge me? On the contrary, I admire the dedication to drama." He slid onto the stool next to her without being invited, which should have been presumptuous but somehow worked. "Let me guess. You were fired? Over a French croissant. That sounds like a fascinating story." And Reine, who normally didn't vent to handsome strangers in expensive bars, told him everything. The croissant, 5 years of loyalty thrown in the trash, the dead car, the overdue rent, the vet bill for her cat, Mr. Darcy, who had eaten something he definitely shouldn't have. Dante listened to it all with attention that seemed genuine, which was unsettling. "Interesting," he said when she finished. "Very interesting. If by interesting you mean pathetic, I completely agree." "No." He leaned slightly forward, and Reine noticed his eyes had tiny golden flecks. "I mean, you might be exactly what I need. Look, you're attractive in a disturbing way, but I'm not that desperate." "I need a wife," Dante interrupted, and Reine almost spit out her martini. "I'm sorry, what?" "Fake," he clarified, as if that made things less insane. "I need a fake wife for 6 months. Possibly 8, depending on how stubborn my grandfather decides to be." Reine blinked, then blinked again. "Did you hit your head recently? Have a stroke? Are you having a psychotic break?" "My grandfather is dying," Dante said, and for the first time, something like real emotion crossed his face. "Cancer. 6 months, maybe less. And his last wish, his only wish, is to see me married before he goes." "And you can't just actually get married?" Dante let out a humorless laugh. "You'd think it would be simple, wouldn't you? But it turns out I have a reputation. The tabloids call me Manhattan's most toxic bachelor." He said this without pride or shame, just as a fact. "I've had relationships. Many. They all ended spectacularly and publicly disastrously. My grandfather saw each one implode and is convinced I'll die alone, surrounded by prenups and lawsuits. He's not wrong. Completely correct, actually." Dante took a sip of his drink. Whiskey, obviously. But he doesn't need to know that. He needs to believe I've found the right woman, that I've changed, that there's hope for me. Reine should have gotten up and left. Any sensible person would have. But she thought about the overdue rent, the vet bill, the fact that she'd eaten instant noodles for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the last 4 days. "How much?" she asked. Dante smiled, a slow, dangerous smile. "Straight to the point, I like that." He grabbed a napkin and an expensive pen, wrote down a number and slid it to her. Reine looked again, counted the zeros. This can't be real." $500,000, Dante confirmed. $250,000 upfront as soon as we sign the contract. The rest when the job is complete. Job. You're calling pretending to be your wife a job. That's exactly what it is. There will be rules, expectations, public appearances, family dinners, charity events. You'll need to move into my apartment. Move? My grandfather may be old, but he's not an idiot. If we're going to convince him it's real, it needs to look real. Dante studied her with those penetrating eyes. You'll also need to sign a non-disclosure agreement. Nothing that happens during these 6 months can be revealed. Ever. Nothing that... What kind of things are you planning to happen? Nothing sordid, if that's what you're imagining. But my grandfather will want to see... affection. Connection. We'll have to touch occasionally, hold hands, maybe a kiss here and there for the cameras. Ren's heart was beating wildly, which was ridiculous because it was just a job. A strange job, but still a job. Why me? She asked. You're obviously rich. You could hire a professional actress. Professional actresses talk. Tabloids pay very well for juicy stories. He tilted his head, studying her. You, on the other hand, just lost your job over a croissant. You're desperate, but you're not stupid. And there's something about you. An authenticity. My grandfather can smell fakeness from miles away. But you could convince him. You're insane. Probably, Dante agreed. But I'm also offering $500,000. Ren looked at her nearly empty martini. Thought about Mr. Darcy, who needed special food because of his digestive issues. Thought about the landlord who had threatened to evict her. Thought about all the jobs she'd applied to that never responded. Thought about how her entire life seemed to be a series of closed doors, and here was a bizarre and completely insane door swinging wide open in front of her. 6 months, she said slowly. Just 6 months? 8 at most. Once my grandfather passes, we'll wait a few respectful weeks and then quietly announce it didn't work out. Amicable divorce. You go on with your life, rich and free. And if I say no? Dante shrugged. Then I finish my whiskey, wish you luck with the French croissant, and find someone else. But there won't be another offer like this, Ren Delacroix. He was right. She knew he was right. This was madness. Absolute and complete madness. Ren extended her hand. Deal. Dante's smile was triumphant as he shook her hand. Excellent. My lawyer will send the contracts tomorrow. I expect you at my apartment on Friday. Wear something nice. We'll be having dinner with my grandfather. Friday? That's 2 days away. My grandfather doesn't have time for you to dawdle, Miss Delacroix. Neither do I. He stood up, adjusting his impeccable suit. Oh, and Ren? Yes? Welcome to the Castellari family. Try not to regret it too much. And then he was gone, leaving Ren alone with her empty martini and the growing feeling that she'd just made the worst or best decision of her life. Her phone vibrated, a message from an unknown number. By the way, you'll need to learn to call me darling convincingly. Practice, Gao Yi. Ren looked at the message, then at the napkin with all those zeros. Darling, she whispered to the empty bar, testing the word. It sounded absolutely ridiculous. What had she just done? Dante Castellari's apartment wasn't an apartment. It was a declaration of war against modesty. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked Central Park, marble floors that Ren was afraid to walk on with her discount store heels, and furniture that probably cost more than most people's college education. She stood in the entryway, clutching her single suitcase, feeling like an orphan who'd accidentally wandered into a palace. You're here. Dante appeared from somewhere within the vast space, looking unfairly attractive in a casual navy sweater that probably cost more than her entire wardrobe. Good. We have 2 hours before dinner. 2 hours to what? Learn a lifetime of fake marriage memories? Exactly. He grabbed her suitcase, which she noticed he handled like it weighed nothing, damn him, and gestured for her to follow. Your room is this way. My room? Ren raised an eyebrow. I thought we were supposed to be convincing. My grandfather isn't visiting the apartment, and I value my sleep too much to share a bed with someone who, according to your own admission, kicks in their sleep and steals covers. I told you that in confidence. You told me that after 3 martinis. Legally, that voids confidentiality. Despite herself, Ren smiled. The room he showed her was bigger than her entire previous apartment, with a king-sized bed that looked like a cloud and an ensuite bathroom with a tub that could fit 4 people. This is excessive. This is standard. Dante leaned against the doorframe, watching her with those unsettling amber eyes. Get dressed. Wear the blue dress in the closet. What blue dress? He opened the closet door, revealing an entire wardrobe of designer clothes, all in her size. How did you? I'm observant, and I have excellent assistance. He checked his watch. 1 hour and 45 minutes, don't be late. The restaurant was the kind of place where the prices weren't listed on the menu, and everyone spoke in hushed, reverent tones. Ren smoothed down her borrowed blue dress, which fit perfectly and made her feel like someone else entirely, and tried not to panic. Breathe, Dante murmured, his hand suddenly on the small of her back. He's just an old man who wants to see his grandson happy. An old man who's probably going to see right through this ridiculous charade. Dante. The voice was surprisingly strong for someone supposedly dying. Ren turned to see a distinguished elderly man rising from a corner table, his face lighting up with genuine joy. And this must be... Ren. Dante's arm slid around her waist, pulling her close. The touch felt electric, professional and intimate all at once. Ren Delacroix, my fiancé. The word hung in the air like a beautiful, terrible lie. Fiancé, Giovanni Castellari, because this could only be him, looked like he might cry. Dante, you devil, you said you were bringing someone special, but I never dreamed. He pulled Ren into a hug that smelled like expensive cologne and something warm, grandfatherly. When he released her, his eyes were definitely wet. Sit. Tell me everything. How did you two meet? When did this happen? Why didn't you tell me sooner, you wretched boy? Ren glanced at Dante, who looked remarkably calm for someone spinning an elaborate lie to their dying grandfather. We met at a bar, Dante said smoothly, his hand finding Ren's under the table and squeezing gently. 3 months ago, I was having the worst day and there she was, having an even worse one. I was fired over a croissant, Ren added, surprised at how steady her voice sounded. Giovanni laughed, a rich, delighted sound. A croissant. Now that's a story. Tell me, dear girl, what did you do to this croissant? I ate it. Apparently that was a crime punishable by immediate termination. Bureaucratic nonsense. Giovanni shook his head, but he was smiling. And my grandson? He came to your rescue? He bought me a drink, Ren said, and found herself smiling at the memory. A real memory which made lying easier. And then he offered me the most insane job proposal I'd ever heard. Dante's hand tightened around hers in warning, but Giovanni just laughed harder. That sounds like Dante. Always with the dramatic gestures. His expression softened. But you said yes to more than just a job, didn't you? You said yes to him. The weight of Giovanni's hope was almost physical. Ren felt it pressing down on her, making the beautiful lie feel uglier. I did, she said quietly. I said yes. Because she's brave, Dante said, and something in his voice made Ren look at him. He was staring at her with an intensity that felt too real. Brave enough to take a chance on someone everyone warned her about. Brave enough to see past the reputation to whatever's underneath. Love, Giovanni said firmly. That's what's underneath. My grandson has so much love to give. He just needed the right person to give it to. He reached across the table, taking both their hands. Promise me something. Both of you. Anything, Dante said. Don't waste time. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Giovanni's voice cracked slightly. Life is shorter than we think. Love each other loudly, messily, completely. Promise me. Ren felt tears threatening. This beautiful, dying man who just wanted his grandson to be happy, who had no idea this was all a performance. We promise, she whispered. Dante's thumb traced circles on her palm under the table, a gesture so intimate and unexpected that Ren forgot to breathe. The dinner continued with stories and laughter, and somewhere between the second course and dessert, Ren forgot she was acting. Giovanni was charming and funny, telling embarrassing stories about Dante's childhood that made the untouchable billionaire blush like a normal human. He was 7, Giovanni said, wiping tears of laughter, and convinced he could fly if he just believed hard enough. Jumped off the garage roof wearing a bedsheet cape. No, please, broke his arm in 2 places, and you know what he said? I almost made it. Giovanni dissolved into laughter again. Ren couldn't help it. She laughed too, imagining a tiny, stubborn Dante refusing to admit defeat. I like her, Giovanni announced suddenly, looking at Dante with satisfaction. She has a good laugh. Real. Not like those others, always calculating, always performing. The irony wasn't lost on Ren. As they left the restaurant, Giovanni hugged them both goodbye, whispering to Ren, "Take care of him. He acts tough, but he has the softest heart I know." In the car, silence stretched between them. Dante stared out the window, his jaw tight. "Your grandfather is wonderful," Ren said finally. "He is. This is going to destroy him when he finds out." "He won't find out." Dante turned to her and his eyes were hard. "He'll die believing I'm happy. That's all that matters." "Is it?" Ren challenged. "Is the lie worth?" "Yes." The word was final. "Whatever it costs, it's worth giving him peace." Ren wanted to argue, but something in Dante's expression stopped her. This wasn't the arrogant billionaire from the bar. This was a grandson who loved his grandfather enough to build an elaborate fiction. "He said you have the softest heart," she said quietly. Dante laughed bitterly. "Then he doesn't know me as well as he thinks." But Ren was beginning to suspect Giovanni knew his grandson perfectly, and that terrified her more than any contract ever could. Ren woke up to the smell of burning toast and the sound of someone cursing in what she assumed was Italian. She stumbled out of her palatial bedroom in an oversized t-shirt and pajama shorts, following the smoke signals to the kitchen where Dante stood glaring at a toaster like it had personally offended him. "Do you need me to call the fire department or?" Dante spun around and Ren realized 2 things simultaneously. First, he was shirtless. Second, she was staring. "I was making breakfast," he said defensively, gesturing at the carnage. "Or attempting to. You're a billionaire. Don't you have people for this?" "I gave the staff the weekend off. Thought we should practice being a couple without an audience." Ren moved past him, carefully avoiding looking at his absurdly defined abs, and examined the toaster. "You burned toast. I didn't think that was actually possible. I'm a man of many talents. Apparently cooking isn't one of them." She opened the refrigerator, which was stocked like a gourmet market. "Go put a shirt on before you burn something else. Like yourself. Bossy in the morning. I'll add that to my notes." "You're taking notes?" "Mental notes. For authenticity." But he grabbed a shirt from somewhere and pulled it on, which was both disappointing and a relief. 20 minutes later, they sat at the breakfast bar with actual edible food, scrambled eggs, fruit, and coffee that didn't taste like regret. "My grandfather wants us to visit tomorrow," Dante said, scrolling through his phone. "Apparently he's telling everyone about his grandson's miraculous engagement." "Everyone?" "His bridge club, his doctors, the mailman. He's possibly taking out a billboard in Times Square as we speak." Ren laughed, then sobered. "Dante, are you sure about this? He seems so happy, and when he finds out—" "He won't find out," Dante interrupted, his voice harder. "That's the point. He gets 6 months of happiness, believing I've finally gotten my life together, and then—" He didn't finish. "And then he dies, and you live with the guilt of lying to him." Dante's jaw tightened. "Better guilt than watching him die disappointed in me. Trust me, I've done the math." Before Ren could respond, her phone rang. She glanced at the screen and groaned. "Who is it?" "My mother." Ren hesitated. "She calls every Saturday like clockwork. I should—" "Answer it," Dante said. "But maybe don't mention the fake marriage thing." Ren rolled her eyes and picked up. Hi, Mom. Ren Louise Delacroix, why haven't you called me back? I left 3 messages. I've been busy. Busy? You were fired. I told you that job was beneath you. If you'd just moved back home like I suggested. Mom, I can't move back to Ohio. I have a life here. A life? What life? You're unemployed, your car is dead, and you're probably surviving on ramen noodles. Ren looked at her gourmet breakfast spread in a billionaire's penthouse and had to suppress hysterical laughter. Actually, things are looking up. Looking up how? Dante was watching her with amused curiosity. Then, before Ren could stop him, he leaned close to the phone and said, "Hello, Mrs. Delacroix. I'm Dante, Ren's fiancé." The silence on the other end was deafening. "Her what?" her mother finally shrieked. Ren covered her face with her hands. "Mom, you're engaged? When did this happen? Who is this man? Why haven't you told me? Ren Louise, you better start explaining right now." "It's recent, very recent. I was going to tell you." "Recent? How recent? Are you pregnant?" "Oh my God, you're pregnant, aren't you?" "I'm not pregnant." Dante was grinning now, clearly enjoying this chaos. "Put him on speaker," he whispered. "Let me help." "You've helped enough," Ren hissed back. But her mother was already in full interrogation mode. "What does he do? Where is he from? Have you met his family? Is he Catholic? Your grandmother will want to know if he's Catholic." "Mrs. Delacroix," Dante said smoothly, taking the phone from Ren's hand. "I understand your concern. Your daughter is remarkable, and you want to make sure she's with someone worthy of her." "Well, yes, exactly. I run an investment firm in Manhattan. I'm Italian-American, yes, I've attended Mass, and my grandfather is already half in love with Ren. She won our family over in about 30 seconds. Ren could practically hear her mother melting through the phone. "Oh, well, that's actually very nice." A pause. "You sound expensive." Dante laughed, a real laugh that surprised Ren. "I prefer financially stable, but yes, ma'am, your daughter will want for nothing." "Can you cook?" "Absolutely not. Ren's already discovered this tragic flaw." "Good. She's an excellent cook. You'll balance each other out." Her mother's voice shifted, becoming softer. "Take care of my girl, Dante. She acts tough, but she's got the biggest heart." "I know," Dante said, looking directly at Ren. "I'm counting on it." After they hung up, Ren stared at him. "You just charmed my mother in under 5 minutes. She once made my ex-boyfriend cry." "I'm very charming. It's in my dating profile." "You have a dating profile?" "Had, past tense. I'm a taken man now, remember?" He handed her phone back. "You'll have to call her later with details. Mothers need details. This is spiraling out of control. This is what we signed up for." Dante stood, stretching. "Come on, we need to practice." "Practice what?" "Being a couple. If we're visiting my grandfather tomorrow, we need to be convincing. That means—" He held out his hand. "We need to be comfortable touching each other." Ren looked at his outstretched hand like it might bite. "It's just a hand, Ren." "I know that." "Then take it." She did. His hand was warm, his grip firm, but gentle. He pulled her to standing, and suddenly they were close. Close enough that she could see those gold flecks in his amber eyes again. "See?" he murmured. "Not so terrible." "It's fine," Ren managed, her heart doing stupid things. "Now put your arms around me." "Excuse me?" "Couples hug. We should probably know how to do that without looking like awkward teenagers." Ren hesitated, then stepped closer, sliding her arms around his waist. He was warm and solid, and he smelled like expensive cologne and coffee. His arms came around her, one hand resting on her lower back, the other cradling the back of her head. "Breathe," he said softly. "I am breathing." "No. You're holding your breath like I might explode." She forced herself to relax, and as she did, something shifted. This didn't feel like practice. It felt dangerous, real, better, Dante said, but his voice had changed, gone lower. Now, what if my grandfather wants to see us kiss? Ren's heart stopped. Does he? He's Italian and romantic, of course he does. Then we'll improvise. Or we could practice. Remove the awkwardness. This is already awkward. It doesn't have to be. His hand curved against her cheek, tilting her face up. It's just a kiss, Ren. For show. For show, she repeated. His lips were an inch from hers. For show, he confirmed. And then he kissed her. It was soft, gentle, almost chaste, the kind of kiss you'd give someone in front of their dying grandfather. But something sparked between them, something that had nothing to do with contracts or performances. When they pulled apart, Dante's eyes were dark, unreadable. That was... Ren started. Practice, Dante finished firmly. Just practice. But they both knew he was lying. The dress Dante had chosen for the charity gala was a crime against Ren's self-control. Emerald green silk that hugged every curve she didn't know she had, with a slit that went to somewhere around Thursday. She felt exposed and powerful all at once, which was probably the point. You look. Dante stopped in the doorway of her room, and for once he seemed at a loss for words. Uncomfortable? Ren supplied. Like I'm one sneeze away from a wardrobe malfunction? Beautiful. The word came out rough. You look beautiful. Something fluttered in Ren's chest which was absolutely not allowed. It's the dress, she said quickly. It costs more than my car used to. It's not the dress. Dante moved closer, and Ren caught a whiff of his cologne, something dark and expensive that should be illegal. Ready to meet Manhattan's elite and pretend you're madly in love with me? I was born ready. Or, desperately paid to be ready. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Remember, stay close, smile adoringly, and if anyone asks how we met, croissant disaster, worst day ever, you swept in like the emotionally unavailable knight in Armani armor. Got it. I'm not emotionally unavailable. Dante, you're paying someone to fake marry you rather than actually developing real human connections. You're the poster child for emotionally unavailable. And yet, you agreed to marry me. What does that say about you? That I really needed the money? Or that you're just as afraid of real connections as I am? The observation hit too close to home. Ren grabbed her clutch, also provided by Dante because apparently he thought of everything, and headed for the door. We're going to be late for your performance. Our performance, he corrected, following her. We're in this together now. The gala was exactly as Ren imagined. Too much champagne, too many designer dresses, and too many people with too much money trying to out-charity each other. Dante's hand stayed firmly on her lower back as they navigated the crowd, and Ren hated how natural it felt. Dante Castellari. A woman's voice cut through the chatter like a knife through butter. I heard a rumor, but I simply didn't believe it. Ren turned to see a stunning redhead in a dress that probably cost more than the down payment on a house. Her smile was sharp, predatory. Vivienne. Dante's hand tightened on Ren's back. How unexpected. Unexpected? Darling, I'm on the committee. You know I never miss these things. Vivienne's eyes raked over Ren like she was appraising furniture. And who is this? Ren Delacroix, Ren said, extending her hand before Dante could speak. Dante's fiancé. The temperature dropped approximately 10 degrees. Fiancé? Vivienne's laugh was like breaking glass. How absolutely sudden. What has it been, Dante? 3 months since you and I... 4 months, Dante said coolly. And that was a mutual decision, as I recall. Mutual. Vivienne's smile turned vicious. Is that what we're calling it? She turned to Ren. Did he tell you about us? About how he proposed grand gestures and forever, then disappeared the moment things got real? He told me everything, Ren lied smoothly, even as her stomach churned, including that he dodged a bullet. Dante made a choking sound that might have been a suppressed laugh. Vivienne's eyes flashed. How delightfully brave of you, taking on Manhattan's most notorious heartbreaker. Tell me, dear, do you actually believe you're special? Or are you just the next name on a very long list? I believe, Ren said, stepping closer to Dante and sliding her arm around his waist, that you're still bitter about being yesterday's news. But don't worry, I'll send you a wedding invitation. You can watch from the cheap seats. For a moment, Vivienne looked like she might throw her champagne. Instead, she smiled, cold and calculating. We'll see how long this lasts. Dante always gets bored. It's his greatest talent. She swept away in a cloud of expensive perfume and barely concealed rage. Dante stared at Ren. Did you just defend your honor? You're welcome. I was going to say eviscerate my ex-girlfriend with the precision of a surgeon, but yes. He looked almost impressed. Where did that come from? I don't like bullies, and she was definitely bullying. Ren grabbed a champagne flute from a passing waiter. Also, I might need this entire bottle. She's right, you know. Dante's voice was quiet. About me. I do get bored. I do disappear. This, he gestured between them, would never work if it were real. Good thing it's not real then. But something in Ren's chest ached as she said it. Before Dante could respond, an older gentleman approached, distinguished, silver-haired with kind eyes. Dante, and this must be the young lady Giovanni can't stop talking about. Dr. Chen. Dante's posture relaxed. Ren, this is my grandfather's oncologist. The word oncologist hit Ren like cold water. This was real. Giovanni was dying, and they were lying to him. And suddenly, the dress felt too tight and the room too small. He's doing well, Dr. Chen said gently as if reading her distress. Better than expected, actually. I think having something to look forward to is helping. Your engagement has given him real hope. The guilt was suffocating. If you'll excuse me, Ren managed. I need some air. She fled before Dante could stop her, pushing through the crowd toward the balcony. The night air hit her like a slap, and she gulped it down, trying to steady her breathing. Hey. Dante's voice was soft behind her. You okay? No. Ren turned to him, and she could feel tears threatening. We're lying to a dying man. A wonderful, kind, dying man who just wants his grandson to be happy. And we're lying to him. I know. Do you? She stepped closer, angry now. Because you seem perfectly fine with it. Like it's just another business transaction. It's not. Dante ran a hand through his hair, frustration clear. You think this is easy for me? Lying to the only person who ever believed in me? Then why are you doing it? Because the truth would kill him faster. Dante's voice broke. You want me to tell him I'm exactly what everyone says I am? That I'm incapable of real love? That I'll die alone because I destroy everything I touch? The raw pain in his voice stopped Ren cold. Dante. He gets 6 months believing I found something real. That's all I can give him. It's the only gift I have left. He looked at her, and his eyes were devastated. So yes, I'm lying. I'm lying because the truth is so much worse. Without thinking, Ren closed the distance between them and wrapped her arms around him. He stiffened, then melted into the embrace, his face buried in her hair. You're not what they say, she whispered. You're not incapable of love. You're doing this because you love him. It doesn't feel like love. It feels like cowardice. It's not. Ren pulled back just enough to look at him. It's complicated and messy and probably morally questionable, but it's not cowardice. They stood there, wrapped around each other under the stars, and Ren realized with sudden terrifying clarity that this wasn't practice anymore. This wasn't performance. This was real. And that was the most dangerous thing of all. Ren woke up at 3 a.m. to frantic knocking on her bedroom door. Ren, wake up. Dante's voice was urgent but whispered. We have a situation. She stumbled to the door in her oversized sleep shirt, hair a disaster. Someone better be dying. Oh God, is it Giovanni? No, worse. Dante looked genuinely panicked, which was terrifying on someone who faced corporate sharks without blinking. He's here. Who's here? My grandfather. He's downstairs in the lobby. Surprise visit to see how his lovebirds are doing in their natural habitat. Ren's brain struggled to process. It's 3 in the morning. He couldn't sleep, wanted to bring us breakfast pastries. Dante ran his hand through his hair. The doorman just called. He'll be up in 5 minutes. 5 minutes? Ren looked around her very separate, very obvious guest bedroom. Dante, we have separate rooms. I'm aware. That's the situation. They stared at each other for exactly 2 seconds before both springing into action. Ren grabbed her pillow and toiletries while Dante snatched random clothes from her closet. They ran to his master bedroom, which Ren had never actually seen, and chaos ensued. Make it look lived in. Dante threw her things around with the precision of someone who'd clearly never had to fake cohabitation before. Lived in, not ransacked by burglars. Ren grabbed her bra from where he'd dramatically flung it onto a lampshade. Where should I? The doorbell rang. They froze. Ren still holding her bra, Dante clutching her purple bathroom caddy like a weapon. Bedroom. Now, Dante hissed. They dove into bed just as they heard Giovanni's voice calling out. Dante? Ren? I have Cornetti. Just a minute, Nono, Dante yelled back, then whispered to Ren. Rumple your hair more. You look too put together. I look like I was attacked by a tornado. Exactly. Now mess up mine. Ren reached over and ran her fingers through Dante's hair, and the intimacy of the gesture made her freeze. Their faces were inches apart, both breathing hard from the sprint, the bed warm beneath them. This is insane, she whispered. Completely, he agreed, his eyes dark and focused on her lips. Dante, are you too decent? Giovanni's voice was getting closer. Define decent, Dante called back, never breaking eye contact with Ren. Then, quieter, play along. He pulled her close just as Giovanni opened the door, arranging them in a tangle of limbs that looked intimate, but was actually incredibly awkward. Oh. Giovanni stopped in the doorway, delight spreading across his face. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. You're not interrupting, Ren said, hoping her face wasn't as red as it felt. We were just sleeping. Very closely, Dante added, his arm around her waist feeling like a brand. As engaged people do. Giovanni's smile could have lit the entire city. I brought breakfast. Get dressed and come out when you're ready. No rush. He backed out, still grinning. The door closed. Neither of them moved. He's gone, Ren said. Yep. You can let go now. Yep. But Dante didn't move. Neither did she. This bed is very comfortable, Ren said stupidly. Italian memory foam. Only the best for fake marriages. Naturally. She should move. She should definitely move. But Dante was warm and solid, and his hand on her waist felt right. We should probably, Dante started. Yeah, definitely. Ren agreed. Neither of them moved. Ren? Are we having a moment? She laughed, despite herself. I think we might be having a moment. Should we not have this moment? Probably wise. Because this is fake. Completely fake, Ren confirmed. Right. Dante's thumb traced small circles on her hip through her shirt. Super fake. The fakest. So I definitely shouldn't kiss you right now. Ren's breath caught. Definitely not. Giovanni isn't even here to see it. Terrible idea, Dante murmured, leaning closer. The worst, Ren whispered, not pulling away. They were a breath apart when someone knocked on the door. I forgot to mention, Giovanni called cheerfully. I'm staying for the weekend, I'll take the guest room. They sprang apart like teenagers caught by parents. The guest room, Ren repeated faintly. My room. Where all your stuff currently is, Dante finished. We are so incredibly bad at this. Breakfast was a masterclass in improvisation. They managed to relocate most of Ren's obvious belongings before Giovanni saw, though he did find one of her romance novels on Dante's nightstand. I didn't know you read, Dante, Giovanni said, examining the shirtless man on the cover with interest. I'm expanding my horizons, Dante said smoothly, while Ren choked on her coffee. It's about a billionaire who falls for his assistant. Giovanni read the back cover. How art imitates life. I'm not his assistant, Ren managed. But you were unemployed when you met, Giovanni pointed out. And now look at you, living in his beautiful apartment, wearing his ring. He stopped. Where is your ring? The silence was deafening. Being resized, Dante and Ren said simultaneously. Both of them? Giovanni looked suspicious. I have large knuckles, Ren blurted. Unusually large, and also small. Large and small at the same time. It's a medical mystery. Dante covered his laugh with a cough. Giovanni studied them for a long moment, and Ren was certain they were caught. But then he smiled, soft and a little sad. You know what I love about you two? You're terrible liars. He took Ren's hand, then Dante's. But I can see the truth anyway. The way you look at each other when you think no one's watching. The way you fit together. That's real, even if you haven't figured it out yet. No, Dante started. I'm old, not blind. Giovanni squeezed their hands. Whatever brought you together, however it started, it doesn't matter. What matters is what you're becoming. And you're becoming something beautiful. After he left to rest, Ren and Dante stood in the kitchen not looking at each other. He's too perceptive, Ren said finally. He sees what he wants to see. Does he? Ren turned to face Dante. Or does he see something we're too scared to admit? Dante's jaw tightened. Don't. Don't what? Don't acknowledge that this stopped being fake somewhere between the charity gala and this morning? Don't admit that I'm... She stopped herself. That you're what? Dante's voice was dangerous, challenging. Nothing, forget it. No. He moved closer. Say it, Ren. That you're what? That I'm falling for you. The words burst out of her, angry and terrified. Happy? I'm falling for the man who's paying me to pretend to love him. I'm the world's biggest cliché and I hate it and I can't stop it. Dante stared at her, his expression unreadable. Then, quietly, you think you're alone in this? Her heart stopped. What? You think this is easy for me? Watching you be exactly what I need and knowing it expires in 6 months? Dante, I'm not good at this, Ren. At feelings, at forever. I ruin things. It's what I do best. Maybe, Ren said, stepping closer. Or maybe you just never found someone worth not ruining it for. The air between them crackled with possibility. This is a terrible idea, Dante said. The worst. It'll end badly. Probably. We should stick to the contract. We should. He cupped her face with both hands. Tell me to stop. I can't. This time when they kissed, there was no pretense of practice, no excuse of performance. It was desperate and real and absolutely terrifying. And neither of them wanted to stop. The problem with kissing someone you're fake engaged to is that afterward, everything becomes impossibly complicated. Ren discovered this 3 days after the kiss, as she'd started calling it in her head, capitalized and terrifying. She and Dante had been dancing around each other like nervous cats, suddenly hyper-aware of every accidental touch, every lingering glance. You're overthinking, Dante said, not looking up from his laptop as they sat in his living room. I'm not overthinking. You've rearranged that same bookshelf 4 times in 10 minutes. Ren stopped, caught. I'm organizing. Alphabetically. Then by color. Then by height. It's very normal. It's deeply weird. He finally looked at her, and the softness in his eyes made her stomach flip. Come here. Why? Because you're across the room acting like I have a contagious disease and it's driving me crazy. Ren crossed to the couch, sitting carefully on the opposite end. Dante rolled his eyes, grabbed her ankle, and pulled her closer until she was tucked against his side. Better, he murmured, going back to his laptop with one arm around her. It was terrifyingly domestic, terrifyingly perfect. Dante? Hmm? What are we doing? His typing paused. At this exact moment? You're having an existential crisis, and I'm reviewing quarterly reports. You know what I mean. He closed the laptop and turned to her fully. Honestly, I have no idea. This wasn't part of the plan. Having feelings wasn't in the contract, Ren agreed. Definitely should have included a clause about that. His thumb traced patterns on her shoulder. What do you want this to be? I don't know. What do you want? Asked you first. That's very mature. I'm stalling because I'm terrified of saying the wrong thing and watching you run. The honesty in his voice made Ren brave. I'm not running. I'm right here. For now. But what happens when my grandfather... He couldn't finish. When this is over, you get your money and your freedom. Why would you stay? Maybe because the money stopped mattering somewhere around the second fake kiss. Ren cupped his face. Maybe because Her phone exploded with notifications. Then Dante's. Then both their phones started ringing simultaneously. What the... Dante grabbed his phone, and his face went white. No, 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 no. What? Ren looked at her screen and felt the floor drop out from under her. Manhattan's most toxic bachelor pays for fake fiancé. The headline was everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, every gossip site. And below it, a photo of their contract, heavily redacted but damning. The article cited anonymous sources close to Castellari and laid out everything. The arrangement, the timeline, even the amount. Vivienne, Dante snarled. It had to be her. How would she know? She has contacts everywhere. Probably paid off someone at my lawyer's office. He was already on his feet, pacing like a caged animal. This is catastrophic. Ren's phone rang. Her mother. She declined it. It rang again. Her sister. Declined. A number she didn't recognize. Declined. Dante. Her voice was surprisingly calm. Your grandfather. His face drained of color. He can't see this. We have to... Dante! Ren! Giovanni's voice came from the hallway. He had a key. Of course he had a key. I need to speak with both of you. Now. They looked at each other. Twin expressions of horror. Giovanni appeared in the doorway, his phone in hand, his face unreadable. Ren had never seen him look so... still. So quiet. No. Dante started. Is it true? Giovanni's voice shook. Tell me it's not true. The silence stretched like taffy. Which part? Ren asked quietly. Any of it. All of it. Giovanni moved further into the room, and Ren noticed he was thinner than when they'd first met, more fragile. Did my grandson pay you to pretend to love him? It's not... Dante tried again. Answer the question. Giovanni's voice cracked. Did you hire this girl to lie to a dying old man? Dante's shoulders slumped. Yes. The word hung in the air like a death sentence. But... Ren stood, desperate to fix this. It's not like that anymore. It started as an arrangement, but we... You what? Giovanni turned to her, and his eyes were wet. You fell in love? How convenient. How utterly convenient that feelings developed right around the time this became public. That's not fair, Dante said, his voice rough. Don't punish her for my mistakes. Your mistakes? Giovanni laughed bitterly. Dante, you've made many mistakes. But lying to me while I'm dying? Using my last wish as what? A business transaction? I wanted you to be happy, Dante's voice broke. I wanted to give you one thing, one last thing, before I die? Giovanni finished. You can say it, Dante, I'm dying. And apparently that made me pathetic enough to manipulate. No. Ren stepped between them. You don't understand. Dante did this because he loves you. Because he couldn't stand the thought of you being disappointed in him again. Was it misguided? Yes. Was it a terrible idea? Absolutely. But it came from love. Love? Giovanni's voice was cold. If this is what Dante thinks love looks like, then I failed him worse than I thought. He turned to leave, then stopped. The wedding is in 3 weeks. I suppose that was fake too? Dante couldn't speak. Cancel it, Giovanni said quietly. Cancel all of it. I don't want to see either of you at my house again. No, please. But Giovanni was already leaving, and with him went any illusion that this could have a happy ending. The door closed. The silence was suffocating. Dante? Ren reached for him. Don't. He pulled away, his face a mask. This is exactly what I told you would happen. I ruin everything I touch. That's not true, isn't it? He laughed harshly. My grandfather is dying, hating me, because I was stupid enough to think I could fake something as important as love. But we're not faking anymore. Ren's voice rose. What we have now is real. Is it? Dante turned to her, and his eyes were empty. Or are you just a good actress who got caught up in her role? How do we even know what's real anymore? The words cut deep. You don't mean that. Don't I? You were paid to fall in love with me, Ren. That's literally what the contract says. How am I supposed to trust that any of this is real? Because I'm here. She grabbed his shirt, forcing him to look at her. I'm here, and I'm not leaving, and I love you, you impossible, self-sabotaging idiot. Dante froze. What did you say? I love you. Tears were streaming down her face now. I love you, and I don't care about the money or the contract or how it started. I love you, and we can fix this. We can't. He gently removed her hands from his shirt. My grandfather is dying, believing the worst of me. There's no fixing that. There has to be. The contract is void anyway. The arrangement is exposed. You don't have to stay. I'm not staying because of the contract. Then you're staying out of pity, which is worse. Dante stepped back, and the distance felt like miles. Go home, Ren. Back to your real life. This was always going to end. It's just ending sooner than planned. Don't do this. Ren's voice broke. Don't push me away because you're scared. I'm not scared. I'm realistic. This, he gestured between them, was built on a lie. It can't become truth just because we want it to. Yes, it can. That's exactly how love works. Then I guess I don't know how love works. Dante's voice was flat, final. Goodbye, Ren. He walked to his office and closed the door, leaving Ren standing alone in the wreckage of their beautiful, terrible lie. She packed that night, crying over designer dresses and expensive lies. When she left, Dante didn't come out to stop her, and for the first time since taking the job, Ren understood why they called him Manhattan's most toxic bachelor. Some people don't destroy love on purpose, they just don't know how to hold on to it. 2 weeks after Ren left, Dante's apartment felt like a mausoleum. He'd thrown himself into work. 18-hour days, back-to-back meetings, anything to avoid the echo of her absence. But everywhere he looked, there she was. The bookshelf she'd reorganized compulsively, the coffee mug she'd claimed as hers, the indent in the couch cushion where she'd curled up against him. His assistant had forwarded Ren's official resignation from their arrangement. Professional, cordial, with bank details for the remaining payment. He'd transferred double the amount. She'd sent it back with a single line. I didn't stay for the money. Don't insult both of us by pretending I did. He hadn't tried again. You look like death, his CFO, Marcus, said bluntly during a board meeting. When's the last time you slept? I sleep. Dante, you're drinking scotch at 10 a.m. and you just approved a merger we rejected last month. You're not okay. I'm fine. You're a disaster. Marcus softened. Look, I know the engagement thing went public badly, but I don't want to talk about it. Maybe you should actually talk to her instead of whatever this self-destructive spiral is. Dante's phone buzzed. Dr. Chen. He answered immediately, stepping out of the boardroom. Mr. Castellari, your grandfather was admitted to the hospital this morning. The world tilted. What happened? Pneumonia. His immune system is compromised from the cancer. He's stable, but... Dr. Chen paused. He's asking for you. Giovanni looked impossibly small in the hospital bed, connected to machines that beeped rhythmically. His eyes were closed, but they opened when Dante entered. "You came," Giovanni said, his voice weak. "Of course I came." Dante pulled a chair close, taking his grandfather's hand. It felt fragile, papery. No, I'm so sorry." "Stop." Giovanni squeezed his hand with surprising strength. "I'm the one who should apologize." "What? No." "I was angry, hurt. But I had 2 weeks to think. And you know what I realized?" Giovanni's eyes were bright with unshed tears. "You're an idiot." Despite everything, Dante laughed, a broken sound. "But you're my idiot," Giovanni continued. "And yes, what you did was stupid and misguided and typically dramatic. You hired a girl to pretend to love you instead of actually trying to find love. Very Dante. I know. But that girl..." Giovanni's grip tightened. "She wasn't pretending. Not at the end. Maybe not ever." Dante's throat closed. "You don't know that. I watched her, Dante. At that first dinner. At the gala. The way she looked at you, that wasn't acting. That was a woman falling in love despite her better judgment." He coughed, and Dante reached for water. "The question is, were you pretending?" "I don't know how not to pretend," Dante said quietly. "It's all I've ever done. With everyone. With every relationship. I perform what I think people want until they realize there's nothing real underneath. That's the fear talking. The same fear your father had." Dante flinched. His father, gone 15 years now, had been brilliant and cold, a man who saw relationships as transactions. "You're not him," Giovanni said firmly. "You're capable of real love. You proved it by doing something completely insane for me. You proved it by pushing Ren away to protect her from yourself. You're just too stupid to see it." "She said she loved me," Dante whispered, "and I told her to leave." "Then you're an even bigger idiot than I thought." Giovanni studied him. "What are you going to do about it?" "What can I do? I destroyed everything. You hate me. She hates me. I don't hate you. I'm disappointed, which is worse, but I don't hate you." Giovanni's expression turned crafty. "And if she hated you, she wouldn't have come to see me." Dante's head snapped up. "What?" 3 days ago. She showed up at my house crying, begging me to forgive you. Said it was all her fault, that she should never have agreed to the arrangement, that you were just trying to make an old man happy." Giovanni smiled. "I told her she was an idiot too. You're perfect for each other." "She came to see you?" "She loves you, you stubborn fool, and unless I'm very wrong, which I'm not, you love her too. So the question is, what are you going to do about it?" Ren was working her 3rd shift of the day at a coffee shop in Brooklyn when Dante walked in. She'd taken the first job she could find, refusing to touch his money beyond what paid her immediate debts. The apartment was tiny. Mr. Darcy was judging her life choices and she was exhausted. But seeing Dante in his $1,000 suit in her dingy coffee shop made her furious. "We're closing," she said coldly. "The sign says open until 9. We're closing early for fumigation, lots of pests." "Ren, no." She slammed the espresso machine harder than necessary. "You don't get to show up here and what? Apologize? Explain? I don't want to hear it. I love you." The words hung in the air. Ren's hand stilled on the machine. "What did you say?" "I love you," Dante repeated, moving closer to the counter. "I'm in love with you. I have been since you defended me to Vivian, maybe before. And I'm terrified of it. And I don't know how to do it right, but I know I can't keep pretending I don't feel it. You're 2 weeks too late with this revelation. I know. You broke my heart. I know." His voice cracked. "And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Ren. I pushed you away because I was scared, because everyone leaves eventually, and I thought if I pushed first, it would hurt less." "Did it?" Ren's eyes were wet. "Hurt less?" "No. It was worse, so much worse." He leaned on the counter and she could see he looked terrible, exhausted, haunted. My grandfather is in the hospital. I know. I visited him yesterday. He told me. He also told me I'm an idiot. He's not wrong. He said you love me. Dante's eyes searched hers. Is that true? Even after everything? Ren wanted to lie, wanted to protect herself, but she'd never been good at lying. Yes, she whispered. I love you. I hate that I love you, but I do. Then give me a chance to earn it. A real chance, not a contract or an arrangement, just us, figuring this out together. How do I know you won't run again? You don't. Dante's honesty was brutal. I might mess this up. I probably will mess this up at some point. But I swear I'll try. Every day. To be worthy of what you're offering. Ren studied him. This beautiful, broken man who'd somehow become everything. My shift ends in 20 minutes. Hope flickered in Dante's eyes. Can I wait? You can help. She tossed him an apron. Minimum wage, no tips, and you're on bathroom cleaning duty. He caught the apron, grinning. The first real smile she'd seen in weeks. Deal. Watching Dante Castellari, Manhattan's most toxic bachelor and literal billionaire, scrubbing coffee shop toilets with determination was the moment Ren knew. This time, it was real. And real was terrifying and messy and absolutely worth fighting for. 3 months later, Giovanni was released from the hospital with strict orders to rest, moderate optimism from Dr. Chen, and an insatiable curiosity about his grandson's love life. So, he said, settling into his favorite chair in his brownstone while Ren fussed with his pillows, are you two actually together, or is this another elaborate performance? We're together, Dante said, his hand finding Ren's automatically. Very together. Prove it. Dante blinked. I'm sorry. Prove it's real this time, show me. Giovanni's eyes twinkled with mischief that seemed impossible for someone who'd been so sick. I'm an old man. I need evidence. No, we're not going to perform our relationship for you. He still can't cook, Ren interrupted, smiling. Burned pasta last week. I didn't know that was possible. The water evaporated, Dante protested. You're supposed to watch it, not just leave it there and take a conference call. Multitasking. That's not multitasking, that's a fire hazard. Giovanni laughed, a real delighted sound. What else? He talks in his sleep, Ren continued. Full conversations. Last night he negotiated a merger with someone named Mr. Whiskers. That was your cat. My cat's name is Mr. Darcy. Details. Dante pulled her closer. She steals all the blankets. Every single night. I wake up in the Arctic while she's cocooned like a burrito. You run hot. It's a public service. She reorganizes my bookshelves when she's anxious. I can never find anything. You don't read those books anyway. That's not the point. They were both laughing now, the bickering as natural as breathing. When Ren looked up, Giovanni's eyes were wet. That's what I needed to see, he said softly. The real stuff. The annoying, mundane, beautiful, real stuff. We're sorry, Ren said, her smile fading. For lying to you. For making you doubt. I'm not. Giovanni's voice was firm. You know why? Because that lie brought you two together. Yes, it started wrong, but it became right. That's what matters. No. Dante's voice was rough. I don't have much time left, Dante. Months, maybe less. And I want to be very clear about something. Giovanni leaned forward. I forgive you. For the lie, for the scheme, all of it. You did something stupid out of love. I can hardly fault you for that when I've done plenty of stupid things for love myself. Thank you, Dante whispered. But I have one condition for this forgiveness. Anything. Marry her. For real this time. Not for me, not for show, for you. Because you love her and can't imagine a life without her. Giovanni looked at Ren. And you, my dear girl. Marry him only if you're absolutely certain. Because my grandson is difficult and dramatic and will probably drive you crazy. He already drives me crazy, Ren said, squeezing Dante's hand. But I love him anyway. Then I want to be there when you do it right. 2 weeks later, on a Saturday morning in Giovanni's brownstone garden, they had a wedding. Not the elaborate affair that had been planned during the fake engagement. No photographers, no society guests, no performance. Just Giovanni, Dr. Chen, Marcus, Ren's mother and sister who'd flown in from Ohio, and Mr. Darcy in a tiny bow tie that he absolutely hated. Ren wore a simple cream dress she'd found in a vintage shop. Dante wore a suit, but no tie. Ren had convinced him he looked better without it, and he'd do anything she asked. There was no elaborate ceremony, no practiced vows. The officiant was a friend of Giovanni's who kept it short and sweet. When it was time for the vows, Dante took both Ren's hands. "I'm not good at this," he started, and she laughed through tears. "I'm going to mess up. I'm going to burn dinner and take work calls at inappropriate times and probably forget important dates." "Definitely forget important dates," Ren interjected. "But I love you. I love how you reorganize things when you're nervous. I love how you defend people you care about like a tiny, fierce warrior. I love that you see through all my walls and decided I was worth the trouble anyway." His voice cracked. "You're my favorite chaos, Ren. And I want to spend whatever time we have making sure you know that." Ren was fully crying now. "I love you too, even though you're impossible and dramatic and have terrible taste in breakfast cereal. Lucky Charms are perfectly acceptable. They're marshmallows masquerading as food." She cupped his face. "But you're also brave and loyal and capable of so much more love than you give yourself credit for. You fake married me because you loved your grandfather. That's the man I fell in love with, the one who makes grand, stupid gestures because he cares too much, not too little." "You may kiss your bride," the officiant said, probably to stop them from bickering through the entire ceremony. Dante kissed her, and this time there was no pretense, no performance, no contract. Just them. Real and imperfect and absolutely certain. Giovanni cried through the whole thing. "Finally," he said afterward, hugging them both. "My grandson did something right." 6 months later, Giovanni passed peacefully in his sleep, with Dante holding one hand and Ren holding the other. His last words were, "Take care of each other. And Dante, don't burn the pasta." At the funeral, the church was packed. Giovanni had touched more lives than anyone realized. During the eulogy, Dante's voice broke only once, when he talked about how his grandfather had believed in love even when Dante had given up on it. "He taught me that sometimes the biggest lies lead us to the most important truths," Dante said, looking directly at Ren. "And that family isn't just about blood. It's about who shows up, who stays, who loves you even when you're at your worst." After the service, Vivienne approached them, surprisingly subdued and black. "I'm sorry," she said quietly, "for leaking the story, for trying to hurt you." "Why did you?" Ren asked, not unkindly. "Because I wanted it to be me," Vivienne admitted. "The one who changed him, the one he chose." She looked at Dante. "But you never chose me, not really. I see that now." "I'm sorry," Dante said, and meant it. "Don't be. You did me a favor." Vivienne managed a small smile. "She's good for you. Better than I ever was." As she walked away, Dante pulled Ren close. "Are you okay?" she asked. "I will be." He kissed her forehead. "As long as I have you, I'll be okay." That night, back in their apartment, they'd moved to a smaller place, something that felt more like a home than a showroom. Ren found an envelope on the counter. Inside was a check. The amount made her gasp. "Dante, what is this?" He appeared in the doorway, casual in jeans and a t-shirt, so different from the untouchable billionaire she'd met in a bar. "Your payment, from the original contract. I told you I don't want. It's not from me." He smiled. "It's from Giovanni. He left instructions in his will. Said you'd earned every penny and more, and before you protest, there's a letter." Ren opened the second envelope with shaking hands. "Dear Ren, if you're reading this, I'm gone. Don't be sad. I got everything I wanted. I got to see my grandson truly happy before I left. This money isn't payment for pretending. It's a thank you for being real, for loving my stubborn, impossible grandson when he didn't know how to love himself. Use it for something good. Start that bakery you mentioned. Travel the world. Or just buy really expensive shoes. I won't judge from beyond. Take care of him, and let him take care of you. That's what love is, taking turns being strong. All my love, Giovanni. P.S. Make sure Dante doesn't burn the pasta. Ren laughed and cried simultaneously, and Dante held her through both. He really did see everything, she said. Always did, even when we couldn't see it ourselves. I love you, Ren said for the 1,000th time and the first time all at once. I love you too, Dante replied. And this time I promise not to run. Good, because I'm not letting you go anyway. Outside, the city sparkled with possibility. Their story had started with a lie, an expensive, elaborate, beautiful lie. But it had become the truest thing either of them had ever known. 3 years later, the bakery was called Nono's, and it was perfect. Ren had used Giovanni's gift to open it 2 years ago in a cozy corner of the West Village. Exposed brick, mismatched vintage chairs, and the smell of fresh bread that made people stop on the sidewalk and sigh with longing. The crown jewel was the Italian pastries, cornetti, the Giovanni's recipes, perfected over months of trial and error. And yes, several batches had been burned. Dante was banned from the kitchen after the great focaccia incident of last summer. I still think that could have been saved, Dante said, appearing behind the counter with their daughter on his hip. It was charcoal, darling, Ren replied, not looking up from the cannoli she was filling. Actual charcoal. We could have sold it as art. Dada burn, 2-year-old Elena announced cheerfully, her amber eyes, so like her father's, sparkling with mischief. Traitor, Dante told his daughter, kissing her dark curls. You're supposed to be on my side. Mama side, Elena declared, reaching for Ren. That's my girl. Ren wiped her hands and took Elena, who immediately smeared powdered sugar on her mother's cheek. Perfect, thank you, baby. Dante laughed, pulling out his phone to take a picture. That's going in the family album under evidence that Ren is actually human and gets messy. I get messy all the time. You color code your spice rack. That's just practical. You iron your pajamas. They're linen. They need to be... Ren stopped, seeing his grin. You're baiting me. Always. He leaned across the counter to kiss her, careful of the baby between them. I love you. Even though I iron my pajamas? Especially because you iron your pajamas, it's delightfully weird. The bell above the door chimed and Marcus walked in with his fiancé, James. Please tell me you made those almond biscotti, Marcus said. James has been talking about them for 3 days straight. I may have mentioned them once or twice, James admitted. 17 times, Marcus corrected. I counted. Fresh batch just came out. Ren handed Elena back to Dante and boxed up the cookies. How's the wedding planning? Chaotic. Your husband offered to help, which is either very sweet or a disaster waiting to happen. Both, Ren and James said simultaneously. I'm an excellent wedding planner, Dante protested. I planned our wedding. You planned a fake wedding that got canceled, then a real wedding that was literally in a backyard with 12 people, Marcus pointed out. And it was perfect, Ren said firmly, squeezing Dante's hand. After Marcus and James left, Ren flipped the sign to closed and started cleaning up. Dante put Elena in her high chair with some carefully supervised pieces of bread to gnaw on. You ready for this afternoon? He asked quietly. Ren nodded. Every year on the anniversary of Giovanni's death, they visited his grave. It had become a tradition, them, Elena, and stories about a man who'd believed in love even when it seemed impossible. The cemetery was peaceful, dappled with afternoon sunlight through old trees. Giovanni's headstone was simple, elegant with fresh flowers that Dante replaced weekly. Hi, Nono, Dante said, settling on the grass with Elena in his lap. Ren sat beside them, her head on his shoulder. We brought someone who's very excited to meet you. Elena, can you say hi to Great-Grandpa? Hi, Pop Pop. Elena waved enthusiastically at the headstone. She made up her own name for you, Ren explained. I hope that's okay. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, watching Elena try to catch a butterfly. The bakery's doing really well, Dante continued. Ren's thinking about opening a second location. I told her she's insane, and she told me I have no vision, and we argued about it for 20 minutes before both admitting we were actually arguing about whose turn it was to clean the bathroom. Ren laughed softly. We're very mature. So mature. Oh, and remember how you used to worry I'd end up alone? Well, I did some math, and if you count Ren, Elena, Mr. Darcy, and the sourdough starter that Ren insists is a member of the family. Herbert has feelings, Dante. Then I'm definitely not alone. You were right, as usual. A breeze rustled through the trees, and Ren could almost hear Giovanni's laugh. We miss you, she said quietly. Every day. Elena has your eyes, you know, and Dante's working on passing down your pasta recipe. It's a process. I only burned it twice this month, Dante protested. Progress, Ren agreed, kissing his cheek. Elena toddled over, clutching a dandelion she'd picked. Very seriously, she placed it on the headstone. For Pop Pop, she announced. Dante's eyes went suspiciously bright. That's perfect, sweetheart. As they prepared to leave, Ren noticed something tucked under the flowers. An envelope that definitely hadn't been there before. Her name was written on it in handwriting she didn't recognize. Dante? He looked over, then froze. That's his handwriting. With shaking hands, Ren opened the envelope. Inside was a letter dated 3 years ago. Dearest Ren and Dante, if you're reading this, several things have happened. I'm gone, sorry about that. You're still together, I knew it. And my lawyer finally followed my very specific instructions about when to deliver this letter. I wrote this the night before your real wedding. I knew my time was short, but I also knew you two would be fine. Better than fine. You'd be extraordinary. Dante, my boy, you spent so long thinking you were broken, but you were just waiting for someone brave enough to love all your sharp edges. You found her. Don't ever let her go. And please, for the love of God, take a cooking class. Ren, my darling girl, thank you for seeing past the money and the walls to the man underneath. Thank you for being stubborn enough to fight for him when he tried to push you away. Thank you for giving this old man the gift of watching his grandson fall truly, completely, messily in love. Here's my final request. Be happy. Not perfectly happy. That's impossible and boring. Be messily happy. Fight about stupid things. Laugh until you cry, dance in your kitchen at 2 a.m. Build a life full of small, beautiful moments. And when things get hard, because they will, remember that you two took the most expensive lie and turned it into the most valuable truth. If you can do that, you can do anything. All my love always, Giovanni P.S. I left another envelope with my lawyer. Open it when baby number 2 arrives. Yes, there will be a baby number 2. I'm never wrong about these things. P.P.S. Dante, seriously. Cooking class. They stood there, crying and laughing and holding each other while Elena chased more butterflies, blissfully unaware of the profound gift her great-grandfather had just given them from beyond the grave. Baby number 2? Dante managed finally. Ren bit her lip, then pulled a small ultrasound photo from her pocket. Surprise? Dante stared at the grainy image, then at her, then at the photo again. We're due in 6 months. She was grinning now, tears streaming down her face. I found out yesterday. I was going to tell you tonight over dinner, but apparently, Giovanni had other plans. He always did have impeccable timing. Dante pulled her into a kiss that tasted like tears and joy and promise. I love you. God, I love you so much. I love you too. Ren looked at the headstone, at the dandelion Elena had placed there. We did it, Giovanni. We're happy. The messy, beautiful kind. As they walked back to the car, Elena between them holding both their hands, Dante said, You know what's funny? What? 3 years ago, I was sitting in a bar completely alone, convinced I'd die that way. And now? He looked at his family, his wife, his daughter, the baby on the way. Now I have everything. Not everything. Ren corrected. You still can't cook. I'm taking that class Giovanni mentioned. Really? Really. I figure if I'm going to have 2 kids, I should probably learn to make something other than reservations. Character growth, I'm so proud. Mock me all you want. You married me. Best terrible decision I ever made. Same, Dante said softly, kissing her temple. Same. Later that night, after Elena was asleep and the bakery was cleaned for tomorrow, they sat on their balcony under the stars. The same stars that had witnessed a desperate bargain in a bar, a fake engagement, a real love story. Do you ever regret it? Dante asked. How we started. Ren thought about the croissant, the martini, the impossible offer. She thought about Giovanni's belief in love, about choosing to fight for something real, even when it was terrifying. Not even a little bit, she said. Every lie led us here. To this. To us. The most expensive truth, Dante murmured. The most valuable one. And somewhere, in whatever comes after, Giovanni smiled, knowing he'd been right all along. Love wasn't about perfect beginnings. It was about choosing each other every day in all the messy, beautiful, impossible ways that mattered. The end